Good morning and welcome to the Stahls TV Morning Show. I'm Josh.
I'm Jenna.
And today we have an exciting episode, per always, or at least we always say that, but we did. We have a lot of different things to go through today and unpack for you. We're going to be talking about a category of printing that solves a lot of problems for a business owner when they're thinking about how to produce a job, and that's digital printing. So we'll step quickly through some of the methods available to digital print a logo, and then spend a lot of time talking about the 8 different types of digital transfers that you can get from Stahls when you have a logo that needs produced. But before we get to all that, I know you have some exciting stuff to share, like Look of the Week.
Right, so this was submitted by Kelly Waltz, and this one stuck out to me today because of the digital print that she was able to achieve in this graphic with our CAD Cut Pattern. So just to point out which pattern this is, because it is a popular one, this is in the category Ornate under our Stahls Creative Studios, and it is the Mandala mix in one of the popular colorways that we select for you guys.
Yeah, I love how this is mixed. If we just take a look at this for a minute longer, how it's mixed with glitter flake. So there's a bit of what looks like layering there, but the glitter is on top of the actual pattern, and even where the B and bray starts to come down in, perhaps that may be punched through the background letters as well, so you can kind of see how it may look like it's layered. Glitter flake on top of patterns, no big deal, but I love the mixed media effect that you're getting here. So CAD Cut Patterns is in fact a form of digital printing. We print all of those out of our production facility in Michigan and produce those to order and ship those out to you. So hi, Priscilla from Michigan, we're happy to have you here. And we have some other folks attending. Feel free to shout out where you're watching from this morning. We always love to see where in the country you are, or even where in the world you are. We get a lot of viewers from outside of the U.S. market, which we always enjoy. Yeah,
always interesting. Some other announcements that we have are Workshop Wednesdays that are coming up. So we just had one last week. For the month of December, we'll be doing a Spark, which is really a trends class that goes over apparel and print trends as well as print finishes. So we'll be demoing all of those and how you can successfully print some of the popular trending apparel for 2019.
Yeah, 7 different locations. So take a chance to look at those locations that we're displaying to you now, and it's worth the trip, folks, especially for this class. It's a 3-hour class, but you can always plan for a little bit of extra time at each location. Most of them have showrooms of some sort and have our reps in the locations, but I know this one talks about new looks, new ideas for the year, and it's in plenty of time to hit your business plans when you're starting to think about what am I going to do for 2019? How am I going to grow my business? These are some of the looks, some of the blank garment styles that can fuel into that business growth. And you know what? If you can't make it to one of those locations, I would highly recommend that you try to make it to a trade show in the first part of the year. And we have some exciting ones coming up in January.
Right. So there's ASI Orlando, Long Beach for ISS, and then PPAI Vegas. All right. So those are all really 3 cool locations to go to, especially if you're looking forward to going to some warmer areas.
Yeah, and the PPAI and ASI, those are promotional products market shows. So if you want to explore more in that promotional space, you may already be a ASI or PPAI member. So it's always great to attend those if you're in that space. But even if you're not in that space, it's great to explore. You'll see a lot of vendors there that you don't normally see at some of the other shows like ISS. And I think with the timing of them, you should be able to actually attend PPAI and ISS Long Beach all on the West Coast and make a whole West Coast trip out of it. The ISS show, however, the Long Beach is the biggest show in the wearable space that we see throughout the year, and it kicks off at a perfect time of year.
Yeah, and we're really excited for that. We're going to be doing 4 different educational classes, some shorter seminars, and then some 4-hour ones where those will be hands-on with new product and being able to actually print with us and walk through the steps of successfully applying different transfer types that have been really popular, as well as some new ones that we'll be showing in Long Beach as well.
Great, so got to do some location shout outs because I'm seeing people from all over the country and world here. So Fort Worth, Texas, welcome Shawnee. We see North Carolina, welcome Connie. Northwest Indiana, Daryl, appreciate you attending. Ty, back with us again from Louisiana. Heidi from Mississippi, and I thought I saw somebody from Ecuador there.
And Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico?
Yeah.
Where's Ecuador? Because that's probably the furthest. Wilmer from Ecuador, welcome. So I'm trying to read from a distance. I feel like I'm at the eye doctor or something to see everything on the screen. But welcome, everybody. So those are some of the trade shows, and we want to dig deep into our topic today and allow plenty of time because digital printing is important. So I attended last Wednesday. I stopped in the Workshop Wednesday that was happening in Michigan. I happened to be at our headquarters for the day and stopped in for about a 45-minute window. And I think the heat press was booting up and it had like 18 minutes to go. So Mario said, would you like to say anything to the class? And I'm like, sure. And just observing, it seemed like a lot of the class was asking a lot of questions and perhaps getting confused about what transfer is that? How do I know when I need that? What is that good for again? And trying to like sort all of this out in their mind and understand all of the choice that's available to them. And so my advice was to kind of back up, look at a 10,000-foot view, and put the Stahls technology and heat printing technology specifically into buckets. Because one of the most important things as a business owner that you have to do is decide, how will I produce this job? Because any one piece of artwork on any garment can probably be produced 10 different ways. And how are you going to produce it for your business? What's the smartest way that you can deliver the best result and make the most profit? And so when you look at those buckets, for me, there's really 4 big buckets when you talk about heat printing. There is heat transfer vinyl, which we call CAD Cut here at Stahls. There is screen printed transfers. There is digital printing, which is our topic today. And then there's this bucket that's other stuff that's kind of like special effects like rhinestones and things of that nature.
And hybrids.
Hybrids, right? Yeah, some buckets merge a little bit. But just to keep it simple, when we look at the big 3, heat transfer vinyl is going to be ideal for low quantity custom and really single color graphics. When you start to do multiple colors, you start having to cut different colors of products, you double your production spend with weeding, and you have to layer at the heat press. So it really doesn't make sense to get up into 3, 4, 5 color stuff with heat transfer vinyl unless you're chasing a certain effect. But for base finishes, it's more costly to do it that way. And with heat transfer vinyl, there's the same amount of labor in every piece. So whether you're producing 1 piece or 1 million pieces, there may be a little bit of savings in like the art setup spread across those pieces, but you're going to have the same amount of work in piece 1 or piece 1 million. So there's that as well, so no economies of scale. When you look at screen printed transfers, it solves the economies of scale problem. So if I have a larger quantity, I typically would want to shift that work and that logo to either a screen printed transfer or direct screen printing even. Is a good choice, but I still have the same challenges with screen printing where when I get multiple colors, cost goes up because I'm having to burn a screen for every color. So unless you have some absorbent quantity, typically it doesn't make sense to do a 7-color screen print transfer job. And so digital printing fills in that category where you need high color count, even low quantity or high quantity, it fills that gap. And one of the things that I mentioned in our practice session was on Friday I received a text where we were celebrating a little sales win for us, but it was a $23,000 order of digital transfers. And so don't put this digital printing with your heat press just in the bucket of onesie twosies.
Right.
Heat printing technology is being used by companies to fulfill very large jobs. This particular one had a bunch of 1,500 piece runs in a digital print out of Express Print, which we'll talk about, but it solves a lot of challenges for people.
Right, and I think that it's more common now because it's being used a lot in retail. And what your customers are seeing in retail, they want you to be able to reproduce. So this digital printing method, while there are so many different types, they help you achieve what is so highly sought after. And some of the most popular are direct-to-garment printing, sublimation, and then of course our favorite, the actual eco-solvent and solvent printing.
Yeah, there's multiple ways to get to produce with digital. So once you figure out that it is going to be best suited in that bucket, you really have to understand the digital print techniques and what each one is best for. And so from my perspective, a direct-to-garment print is classically best for a full front t-shirt design or sweatshirt design. So if it's primarily a cotton garment, for the most part, and we're talking a large print with a lot of high detail stuff you wouldn't want weed, or you wouldn't want feeling heavier on the garment. Typically that's direct printed straight onto the garment. So it works really well, especially for these online businesses that are like one piece at a time, or these in-store experiences where it's like one full front t-shirt at a time. Looks great, feels soft, and really is reliable in that space.
Yeah, and I think too, this is more of a DIY. This is something that you would invest in and bring in-house, unless this is something that you're outsourcing from somebody that has a direct-to-garment printer.
Yeah, and I think there's a big part of that is when you look at the cost to obtain this equipment, it's expensive. I mean, for a lot of shops. For some shops, not so much, but you're talking somewhere around the 15 to 20K to even get in the game on a direct garment printer. So you have to be doing a lot of t-shirts, and a lot of the products that are going to be produced have a pretty solid business model to get to ROI on something like that. So that's direct garment printing, great technology. You need to have volume in t-shirts, full front prints, high detail. It's awesome. Starts to fall a little bit short on performance textiles and stuff that's going to bleed and or be heat sensitive because of the pre-treat and post-cure process under the heat press or through a screen printing dryer, so it has some shortcomings. But our other big digital technology that really does well is sublimation. In sublimation, I guess you can go two methods. You can go large format or you can go desktop on sublimation, and we see a lot of our typical small business customer going desktop on sublimation, but a lot for hard goods.
Right, so we're able to be able to print on anything that has a polyester base, which is how sublimation works. It does have to be polyester, so it is good for some of those promotional products where we need to get a small detail on a small item by just using that sublimation process.
Yeah, in sublimation, it's actually a special ink where it dyes the fabric or the substrate itself, so it is a polyester fabric or a polymer coating on your item for the ink to work, for that to open up and absorb the ink. And then also when you take into the fact that there is a dyeing process, typically works best when your item is white or light color.
Correct, yeah. So if it is apparel, we do need to, it needs to be the polyester, 100% polyester for that vibrant color to really pop off the garment, and then white or light, like you said.
Yeah, and the best example I can give that, my daughter, she's 9 years old, and she wanted to have her hair dyed, but she has very dark hair. And so she wanted it pink, right? And so dyeing her hair, which was very dark, brownish black pink, presents a challenge. You're not going to get a nice vibrant pink unless you first do something to the hair. And that is what?
Bleach.
Bleach it, right? Okay, so we did that. We bleached her hair. She got her hair done pink, but it required a white or a light base to be able to give the most vibrant color. So that's a real life scenario on how sublimation, how the dyeing process works. But sublimation is great in the desktop. That's why in the large format, it is a pretty sizable investment, but you see a lot of full cut and sew because we're dyeing polyester full panels and then the garments sewn together to get the look. So you see that trending a lot in sportswear. But because of the cost, I would say for the large format in sublimation and direct-to-garment printing, you see a lot of people, and kind of the limited items that it will do, unless you have a specific business model based around that, you see a lot of folks looking for something else, looking for more versatile technology that will do more things. And that's really where we've had a lot of success, and I know other companies have had success placing shop owners with print cut systems to be able to get a lot more versatility and sellable opportunities out of their equipment investment. So let's walk through the workflow of print cut and show you how that works.
All right, so this is a large format. I believe this was on the VS300i by Roland. And what we have is just a white heat transfer vinyl being loaded in there and printed on. And then now it's feeding it back in and cutting. So this is commonly known as a print cut. Now with this process, we do have to weed out everything that was printed. So that is the process that you're seeing here. And then as soon as that's complete, we mask the product because we need to expose that adhesive in order for it to be put on an item or heat applied onto apparel. All right, and some of the prints that you're seeing here, and another way that this is commonly used is being able to achieve any color that you want, because this does take a CMYK ink. We're able to get any achieve color that we want, especially if it needs to be specific to a certain school that has colors that they have to have.
Yeah, spot color matching, especially in the team world and in the business world is important. So that is the print cut process. There's a couple different ways you can go after it. One is you can invest in a solvent or eco-solvent printer. At Stahls, we represent the Roland brand and like that brand. The VS 300 is our recommended unit. That's the one we use in our production facilities. And then also latex is a growing technology for print cut. It doesn't quite have the available material options that you can print onto with the trusted durability, but I would say that's growing, and we may see that over the next 5 years become equal with solvent or eco-solvent in the wearable space for a print cut workflow. So once again, you're looking at an equipment investment in a large format printer, but that printer will do more than just apparel. You can print direct-to-banner material, canvas material, sign graphics, posters, etc. However, that still becomes a barrier of entry for some people. 15,000 is the ballpark on a 30-inch print cut machine, and so for that reason, at Stahls we have a big business of printing logos for people. And so with the rest of our session today, we want to kind of explain some of the different media types that you can order in your logo. Before we go there, though, I want to clarify one thing, is there are other digital production methods like desktop inkjet, desktop laser printing that will allow you to do full color logos. And it's not that those technologies don't deserve to be in the conversation, it's just we found that those haven't been as high durable options. So they're good for some markets, for some customer types, but we've chose to focus this segment at least on the stuff we would consider to be industrial grade from a finished output result. And that's why we lowered it down to DTG, sublimation, and print cut with like a solvent, eco-solvent, or latex printer. So let's start with, where you want to start? You want to start with the first print type?
Yeah, let's do that. All right, so we have Express Print, and you can see that it was applied to this bag here, but it works well on cotton poly blends, and items that have those types of substrates. All right, so this is our most economically priced digital print. So this is available in a rolled good. So if you are printing in-house, you can use this with your printer, or you can order it through us.
Yeah, Express Print is a good basic material. The most popular by far, and we would consider that in a category of opaque materials, which means I can use it on any color of garment as long as there's not a bleeding or a dye migration issue. You can get Express Print. Now, I know some customers that get Express Print, they're like, I may want a little bit more of a premium finish, softer result. And there's an option for that.
Right, and that is our Supertech Opaque. So it's a lot like Express Print, but it just has a little bit of a thinner and softer feel on the garment. So we're able to do more with that in some of the trendier garments, like the tri-blends that incorporate a softer fabric in there, and it'll just feel nice and lightweight on there, as opposed to what some would call a sticker.
Well, yeah, and you're going to pay 10-15% more, and you're going to get a little bit softer feel. And then I will say, for the sticker comment, sometimes it depends on the base material that you're applying to, so it feels really good on that denier poly, but if you design a sticker design and you place it on the front of a super thin soft t-shirt, it's going to feel heavy. Just like if you direct a garment printed and flooded that with white ink and coverage, it's going to feel heavy. So a lot of the trick is in the design work with having sort of areas that are blown out, so the garment starts to breathe a little bit.
This would be an ideal one, or even the Dynamo, there we go, one over there, where we actually have open cavities in there, so it doesn't feel just like one solid piece. Yeah,
so lots of show through on that particular design, and there's also, even get a little preview on how you can mix media, where there's a little bit of a glitter print in that Dynamo design and hologram in this Tighten Up design directly behind us. So Express Print, Supertech Opaque. I think one of the important parts is, as we start to go through more finishes, is first to understand how to order this.
Right.
And so if we can move to my computer screen real quick, I'm logged into Stahls.com account, and up in the very right-hand corner, and we've just redone this part of our site, there is a tool called the Artwork Uploader. So if you have custom artwork, whether that's single color, full color, whatever it may be, this is the place you want to go to order your transfer from and to get a price. And so it'll walk you through step by step, but the basic first step is you want to attach your art file. And so I have a couple different art files here. I'm going to start with attaching one. It will analyze the art file and give me a thumbnail preview. So basically it's figuring out, is it vector, is it raster, what type of art am I working with here? And so it'll take a couple seconds depending on your internet connection. Complete our analysis.
It works so smoothly in the practice run. It's just uploaded so fast.
Always does. So while it's finishing this process, I'm going to look up at some questions. We got some shout outs for the roll-in machine. Some people like to try Express, but sometimes software is needed. Great. So good comments there. If you have any questions, feel free to chime in with those. Money, 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 money. I saw the dollar signs. I don't know if you mean that cost money or we're making money. Hopefully it's the latter, but either way.
And the microns on the, what I'm assuming is the Supertech Opaque, is it 88 microns?
It's in the 80s.
Okay.
So from memory, it's in the 80s, and the Express print is in the high 90s to low 100s. So it is about 10 to 15% lighter. But it's also a little more pliable because of the adhesive and the materials we use in manufacturing it. So that's part two. Okay, so we have our file analyzed here. We have our thumbnail, and then the artwork upload process, then we select the service type that we want. And so CAD Prints is our digital transfer category that we have here. And then you can get just a quick view of some of the things you can order in this. So banners, helmet stickers, static clings. We can produce all of this, but let's stick with the digital heat transfers and logos. And then we walk you through the process of arriving at a material. So you don't always have to know the material up front. You can say, I want to apply this to cotton poly blends. It is a dark colored fabric. And no, it is not a split front, which is a term used for like button-up baseball jerseys or zip-up jackets. And then you can select material type. So we've already talked about the Express print, so I'll select that. And then we give you some information on whether or not you want a contrast outline color around your print, or whether or not you would rather not have it. So this is based on the level of detail in your print. If we can avoid the contrast color outline with some minor modification to the artwork to avoid it, we will. Or you can just say you want it. It's up to you. Sometimes I like it because it helps it stand out. And you can just say you want the outline color to be white, or you can pick a color from our Stahls digital color palette. So if I'm going to a black garment, maybe I want it to be black to try to match that garment so it's less noticeable.
Is that required for smaller designs like a left chest logo or a yoke of the garment?
It depends.
Okay.
So like a design that we're looking at here is more of like a patch. This is designed to be like a 4x4 left chest logo. We could probably avoid it on this, but if it was like free floating text, then you're probably going to need it. So it just depends on the art and the size. So let's just say we want this 4 inches wide. It'll automatically give you the height calculation. And then we can name this. I'll just name it test file. And then it will allow you to move to the special instructions if you want to say anything else about the art, and it'll give me a price. So for Express print at 25 pieces, this is going to cost me $2.08 each. So you can start to get an idea and get an instant quote by taking artwork through this process. Now, once you submit the artwork, it goes to our production artist, and then I'm going to go just to my art dashboard. You just click submit artwork if you're ready to complete it, but I'll go to my art dashboard and show you something that I submitted prior. And we store all of your artwork. So you can see these are 2 sample designs that I've are pending proof of approval. So basically our logo team creates a proof saying, okay, here's how it would actually work based on what you're uploaded. And then I just need to approve it, and it moves into a green status rather than a red status, meaning ready to order. So now moving forward, I can just order that design in the quantities that I want at any time, as long as I don't change the size. If you change the size, it would have to go back through the proof process, because obviously the size impacts whether or not we can produce it, so and the material type. So you upload your art, you go through the process, you get your art ready to order status, and then initial orders and reorders and getting pricing becomes really simple for the process.
Right, and that is for our digital logos. Now, if it's something where you would want just single color, we offer that as well. So the uploader works for all of those products. But some other products that we offer, aside from just the Express print, any of our opaque finishes, we do offer some special effects such as the texture twills and perma twills, which we actually have a shot of us heat applying so that you can see that finish. So the first one is our perma twill. Right, so it's just a printed twill with a permanent adhesive on the back so that we can apply it to apparel with a heat press. And then we have our texture twill, which actually has a really nice textured finish to it so that it looks a lot like embroidery. This one is our printable glitter, right? So if you wanted a full color glitter finish so that you're not having to worry about layering glitter, which is frowned upon. So you can get that full color and you can get gradients, anything like that with that glitter finish.
Okay, so that was quick.
Yes.
So, all right, let me jump back a little bit. So far we have Express Print, we have Supertech Opaque, which is a lighter, more pliable version. And then we have, if your garment's going to bleed, I just want to make mention before we move to the effects, we have something called Sublistop. So if you said this is a 100% polyester garment that may bleed, we're going to recommend Sublistop, which has this charcoal backing to prevent the dyes from traveling through the material. So you don't have to use this on cotton t-shirts, but if it's 100% poly, if it may want to bleed through your print, which is typical in any production process, we do have a solution for that in our digital transfers. So those would be sort of our core 3 base materials. Then we start to move into different special effects that are still opaque. And in that video, you saw Permatwill and Texture Twill, which are actually a twill-based fabric material that you can get your logo out of. I love these. I think the Permatwill is one of the best finishes that we have. If you've never tried that one, I would recommend it. It has a really high-end look on the finished garment, and this product is actually being utilized for some of the professional sports league for sponsor logos and those types of things. So it's an extremely high-end product, and it doesn't cost very much over your basic finishes.
Right, and you can actually compare it with embroidery. So if you are embroidering in-house and you want full color twill as your applique, you can order that with a sew file. So you'll have that for your embroidery machine so that you can embroider the contour. Yeah,
and it walks you through that. In the art upload process, you just say, yes, I want a sew file for this, or no, I don't, depending on how you intend to use it. And so the Permatwill is my favorite, but then there's the Texture Twill that's more of like a glossy sheen, so just 2 different fabric-based options. And then you talked about we got a really nice view of the glitter flake, which is great for those spirit wear applications. So if I'm counting right, those are 6 different finishes that we've went through so far. I want to give you 8, but I'm going to stop for some questions. Melissa asked, what's the best file type to upload? Should it be uploaded the size that you will want it printed at? So 2-part question. Number 1, let's go with size first. I would recommend you make sure it's uploaded at a good quality because we're going to produce it. So I would say a size at what you want it printed at or larger from a quality standpoint. And then file type, we really don't care, but if you have it in a vector file format, I think there were like 9 acceptable formats. So if you can switch to my screen real quick, I'll kind of show. We have Adobe Illustrator. It's right down in this bottom part of the screen. An EPS, Corel Draw file, SVG, PDF. Those are all your primary vector formats. So if you can get it in one of those vector formats, that's great. It's going to save you an art fee on converting it to vector. But then we also take raster formats too if you want to do bitmap, GIF, JPEG, whatever it may be. But you can kind of see all the details there. So vector format's going to save you some money and is going to be the best and highest quality you can, as long as it doesn't exceed the 50 meg file size. But
we'll always let you know if it doesn't work or if we can't work with the artwork that you did upload. So if we do need a larger file, you'll always be updated so that you can facilitate a new one.
Good. We got a couple testimonials coming in there. We got some folks helping us answer questions, which we always appreciate you chiming in and helping us do that. All right, cool. So we have 2 more finishes that we definitely want to cover. And I guess one is still in the same box, and then we have a couple more out of the box. So, well, first, this is really cool. You did this. This is glitter. So let's zoom in on that so we can show that finish. This is one idea of how you might use the CAD Prints Glitter Flake, so a digital glitter transfer. You're seeing a lot of design, and this is all a single-step application, which is really cool. So I don't have to build up multiple layers at the heat press. But you can see that glitter sparkle coming through, comes to you in a print, ready to apply in a single step, which is awesome. So you can just upload that and order it. And then next we have the clear. So this kind of diverts a little bit from the opaque finishes. You want to talk a little bit about the clear material and how that works?
Yeah, so like you mentioned, it does not have that opaque finish to it. So whenever we load this in, it is completely clear. So whenever we are choosing garments for this to work best on, we want to choose a light garment or a white garment, but it is very thin and you can barely feel it on that garment. I mean, it's actually shocking. We actually show this one in the trade show booth, and whenever we explain that this is a print cut heat transfer vinyl on this shirt, a lot of people are very wowed by the finish, by being able to just feel it and how soft it is. But it does come in a matte, which you just saw, and then gloss as well.
Yeah, and you can actually produce this, print it in a mirror image. So it takes a step out of the production as well with masking, which I love. So if you're going on to a white or a light color, it's great. Obviously, same concept won't work on a dark because it'll show through. Right. But I've seen you break the rules and do some really cool things on darker fabrics with clear.
Yeah, so whenever you are applying it on a darker fabric, it does have kind of a laser etched finish, which I really like. So we have actually did a Get This Look. So if you follow us on YouTube at all, if you're subscribed there, we did a video of how the matte clear was printed and applied onto a charcoal finish. So when the light hits it, it just it depends on how the light's hitting it for that graphic to actually show up.
Yeah, and if you're going on to, let's just say, a gray t-shirt, I've seen where you've taken the clear and you've actually printed black, because the black ink will show up on the gray shirt.
Right.
So you can get the sort of laser etched effect, but with a logo or a word mark or some sort of design still in it. It's really cool. So we'll try to show one of those maybe on the next morning show or afterwards in the thread. Some really cool stuff you can be creative and do with the clear. And then the last one, although this is kind of not in our CAD prints grouping, you can still do digital transfers in these logos, and that is FlexStyle. And so FlexStyle is one of those new products from Stahls that we just launched, and it's available in the artwork uploader. And you can order this a couple different ways. So these are dimensional heat transfers that there are no per color fees. You're still paying based on the design size, and it walks you through the process. But the particular one you're looking at right here is called our Domex version of FlexStyle. So it's sort of raised and has these rounded finishes, and you can do standard finishes or metallic treatments. This one's done in metallic, so it really stands off. And then Jenna's going to slide in the next print, which shows you how you can also achieve full color, color gradients, and this Deco X format, which is more of a textured finish, not as rounded, but it has more of a texture to it. We just uploaded a video talking all about FlexStyle. If you're part of our Heat Press for Profit group, it was shared there within a thread, but afterwards I'll go share it there, and it started its own thread with FlexStyle. Pretty cool finish. Anything to say about that?
It's awesome. I love it. And it's a really easy to fulfill a lot of different things, because it doesn't just come in a heat applied finish, but it comes in a pressure sensitive. So you can do, aside from apparel, other items such as glass, anything that you would do with sign vinyl, basically has that same process.
Okay, so those cover our traditional digital transfer methods and a lot of the different things you can do. So when you think about a job, when it starts to get to be too many colors or full color, and you're like, how am I going to produce this? It doesn't work for screen printing. It doesn't work for CAD Cut. Next time, give digital transfers a try. I recommend, before investing in any equipment, that you order the transfers, build up the business, make sure you can generate the demand and have the demand, and then the printer investment becomes a lot easier, because then you're just going to save money by bringing it in-house. But you definitely want to experience the products and the different choices first. We do have sample packs on our website called the CAD Prints Sample Pack that you can try a lot of these different finishes in and apply them as well. Can
you get samples of FlexStyle?
You can get samples of FlexStyle, but it's not really easy right now on the website is the best answer. So we'll reach out to you and get you taken care of. There's not an automated way to do that at this moment. So that covers our digital transfers, but then now we're going to kind of break the rules and combine two buckets. So for those of you who are like, yeah, I already knew all of this, everything you just covered, maybe you didn't know about this product. So Jenna's going to show you Stretch Litho.
Yeah, so this is actually something that you can order through Transfer Express. So it's the combination of digital printing and screen print. So we're going to actually demo this using the Fusion. All right, and it works just like any other transfer. Before we apply, we're going to do a preheat to release any moisture, wrinkles in the fabric, and double check our pressure. Whenever we're working with stretch litho, we want to be at about a medium to a firm pressure. And I can apply this application as low as 275 degrees. So I'm able to print any heat sensitive fabrics that would typically scorch or leave a heat press box after applying. And I put a cover sheet there. I don't even need one actually. So this transfer that is on its backing doesn't require a cover sheet, so we won't have to worry about that. All right, so we are going to apply this for 12 seconds, and then it is a cold peel, so we will wait for that to cool completely before peeling away that carrier. But this, like Josh mentioned, works for that screen print feel and being able to get full color and still have that finish. And it works for getting great detail and using a lot of those really bright colors that is really sought after in retail right now.
Yeah, some of the reasons I like Flex Style, sorry, got to get me, I'm a little taller. Some of the reasons I like stretch litho is because there's going to be this digital print job that hits quantity sometimes that doesn't make sense for a digital print. And so stretch litho is great when you have a large quantity because we are incorporating the screen print process. So if you have a lot of them, a lot of prints to do, this is a great way to get a better price point when the print is just duplicated, sometimes tens of thousands of times over. Also, as you mentioned, the free floating detail, sometimes through the artwork upload process, when you get your proof back, you're limited on free floating text. But with this type of process, you're able to do a lot of detail and free floating stuff, so it feels nice on the garment afterwards. You get that light feel, even on this performance textile.
And it does have a little bit of a semi-gloss finish too, so just keep that in mind depending on the finish that you want. Stretch litho does have that semi-gloss look after it's applied. But if you do want to matte that up, you can just take a cover sheet, hit it again, and it will take that sheen away from that finish.
Excellent. So a lot of stuff to digest this morning. We ran way over our time, but that's okay. We're having fun. We'll keep an eye out for questions throughout the course of today, and we certainly appreciate you attending the Stahls TV Morning Show. We'll talk to you again in about 2 weeks.
See ya.